would like to share the importance of doing the lessons of the course. So there are 365, I believe, lessons, and every day you have something else that you need to affirm. I'm on the lesson 22 at the moment, and the purpose of those lessons is to undo your perception of the world so that you really see things as they are, because what we see actually is not real. The lesson that I'm now on is saying that what we perceive is a form of vengeance, so that this world is made from the material of dreams, and all we see are the pictures of the past made from fear. But it's not possible to understand it unless you really study the course and do the lessons. And what happens is that it seems like your brain waves are slowing down, enabling you to understand the course. And as one of my viewers said, the course, the entire book is wordy, quite wordy. There are many pages, many words. However, this is so important because it serves to decondition us, to undo our perception and understanding of the world, which is very strong. So the book is thick, but in different ways it's pointing to the same truth. And for us to really get it, we need not only read the book, that thick book, once, but we need to do it over and over again until we get it. So then what happens is that it seems like it's slowing down the brain waves so that the truths it teaches really sinks in. Otherwise, it's just like what the lesson I'm going to read it now, not the lesson, the text, the passages. Basically, if you are just perceiving it through normal perception, it's like, yeah, of course, because the lesson will be about that everything starts from the mind. That the cause is always in the mind and not in the world. But unless you get to that stage where you are ready to be deconditioned, it will just remain like a head knowledge instead of really sinking in, and you're getting, wow, this is so true. And when this happens, you really start thinking, because in the course it is told we don't really think. We don't even know what thinking is. And once we are getting into the course and doing the lessons, we really start, like, our thinking then only really starts, because all previous thinking is just conditioning, and it's not thinking at all. It's like automatic. But the course causes us to really think. So what I'm going to read out is about how to undo any disease in the body, how to heal yourself. How is healing accomplished? Healing involves an understanding of what the illusion of sickness is for. Healing is impossible without this. Healing involves an understanding of what the illusion of sickness is for, understanding why sickness is there. Healing is accomplished the instant the sufferer no longer sees any value in pain. So it means people who have bodily conditions value in some way, they gain value from pain. Who would choose to suffer unless he thought it brought him something, and something of value to him? He must think it is a small price to pay for something of greater worth. For sickness is an election, a decision. It is a choice of weakness in the mistaken conviction that it is strength. When this occurs, real strength is seen as threat and health as danger. So it's totally opposite to what it is in our minds, in an unhealed mind. Sickness is a method conceived in madness for placing God's Son on his Father's throne. God is seen as outside, fierce and powerful, eager to keep all power for himself. Only by his death can he be conquered. Only by the Father's death can he be conquered by his Son. And what, in this insane conviction, does healing stand for? It symbolizes the defeat of God's Son and the triumph of his Father over him. It represents the ultimate defiance in a direct form, which the Son of God is forced to recognize. So basically, in a disturbed mind, in an unhealed mind, healing would be perceived like God's in charge and he overruled the Son. It stands for all that he would hide from himself to protect his life. If he is healed, he is responsible for his thoughts. If he is responsible for his thoughts, he will be killed to prove to him how weak and pitiful he is. I think what that means is that if the Son of God, which is us, is responsible for his thoughts, he will be killed to prove how weak and pitiful he is, because he's unable to control his thoughts. And if everything is caused by his thoughts, and if he is unable to control his thoughts, then he will be killed because he is too weak to control the thoughts. So this is my understanding. But if he chooses death himself, his weakness is his strength. So basically, the Son of God, us, doesn't believe that he is strong enough to control his thoughts, but he just can allow the thoughts to just run free and cause damage and ultimately kill him, to prove, so to speak, that his weakness is his strength because he's still in control. So by this, he kind of proves that he usurped the throne of God because he is the one in charge, letting himself to be killed through his thoughts. That's my interpretation. So basically, this could be the twisted view of an unhealed mind. So let's move on. It says now, healing must occur in exact proportion in which valuelessness of sickness is recognized. One need but say, there is no gain at all to me in this, in sickness, and he is healed. But to say this, one must first recognize certain facts. First, it is obvious that the decisions are of the mind and not of the body. If sickness is but a faulty problem-solving approach, it is a decision. And if it is a decision, it is the mind and not the body that makes it. The resistance to recognizing this is enormous, because the existence of the world as we perceive it depends on the body being the decision maker and not the mind. Terms like instincts, reflexes, and the like represent attempts to endow the body with non-mental motivators. Actually, such terms merely state or describe the problem. They do not answer it. The acceptance of sickness as a decision of the mind for a purpose for which it alone would use the body is the basis of healing. Again, the acceptance of sickness as a decision of the mind for a purpose for which it alone would use the body is the basis of healing. And this is so for healing in all forms. A patient decides that this is so and he recovers. If he decides against recovery, he will not be healed. Who is the physician? Only the mind of the patient himself. The outcome is what he decides that it is. Special agents seem to be ministering to him, yet they but give form to his own choice. So basically, what that means is that it's totally up to us to decide whether we keep the sickness or not. And this is very obvious in people who are chronically sick, and they talk and talk and talk, like they seem to gain value from talking about how sick they are. Their whole focus is on sickness. They make the whole identity about sickness, and often they use sickness to gain pity, basically to take energy, to take attention of people. So they actually value that sickness. But when people are ready to heal, this must happen, but it happens usually through some kind of healing agents, which is medicines, doctors, taking trips to places where they endow with the healing powers. But the healing took place not because of these healing agent, so to speak, but because they decided that they want to heal. He chooses them to bring tangible form to his desires. So special agents seem to be ministering to him, yet they but give form to his own choice. He chooses them to bring tangible form to his desires. So the thing that really healed is the mind that decided that wants healing, but then these agents bring the tangible form to that wish to be healed. And it is this they do and nothing else. So it's not that they are endowed with healing, so doctors don't themselves heal, medicines don't themselves work, but they bring our desire of the mind into tangible form. So the mind is the cause of healing. They are not actually needed at all. The patient could merely rise up without their aid and say, I have no use for this. There is no form of sickness that would not be cured at once. So this is how most people heal, with the aid of these healing mediums. However, we can totally do away with them and heal merely through a decision that we are healed. What is the single requisite for this shift in perception? It is simply this, the recognition that sickness is of the mind and has nothing to do with the body. Because then the healing of any disease becomes very simple through our choosing of healing. But if we believe that sickness is caused by the body, then we are in the world of differences and degrees, and some diseases can look huge, and there are stages of diseases. So when we look at the body as the cause, it kind of looks impossible to heal some diseases. But when we really understand that all diseases are caused by the mind, then it's very simple to just choose no longer to feel to be sick, but choose healing and health. So when we really understand that all sicknesses are caused by the mind alone, we won't need these healing mediums. The healing will just naturally take place. What does this recognition cost? It costs the world we see. For the world will never again appear to rule the mind. So this decision, this understanding that all sicknesses are in the mind, and the decision to heal would cost us the way that we perceive the world, because we will have the reverse effect and cause, and no longer believe that the world is the one that causes us to suffer and to be joyous, but we will understand that our mind, is the cause of what we see, of our perception. For with this recognition is responsibility placed where it belongs, not within the world, but on him who looks on the world and sees it as it is not. And this, most people are not ready to accept this big responsibility that they project the world. That it's not that something is happening to them, but the mind causes them to experience everything that happens to them. He looks on what he chooses to see, no more, no less. The world does nothing to him. He only thought it did, nor does he do anything to the world, because he was mistaken about what it is. Herein is the release from guilt and sickness both, for they are one. This release, the insignificance of the body, must be an acceptable idea. That the body is neutral like the world, it's just a puppet. It's made from the material of illusions. However, most people see the body not as a means, but as an end in itself, and they spend vast amounts of time decorating it and caring for it like it's an end. but this just increases the illusion. The body is not the doer, it's not responsible for anything, it's only the mind that controls it. With this idea, is pain forever gone? The idea that it's the mind that is the doer, it causes everything that we see outside of ourselves, and it rules the body, it controls what it does. But with this idea goes also all confusion about creation. Does not this follow of necessity? Place cause and effect in their true sequence in one respect, and the learning will generalize and transform the world. The transfer value of one true idea has no end or limit. The final outcome of this lesson is the remembrance of God. So you see, most people will not, they can just say like in their minds, yeah, I'm the creator of the world, but to really understand this has huge consequences. The whole world will be seen in a totally different way, and it will result finally in the remembrance of God. What do guilt and sickness, pain, disaster, and all suffering mean now? Having no purpose, they are gone. And with them also go all the effects they seemed to cause. Cause and effect but replicate creation. Seen in their proper perspective, without distortion and without fear, they re-establish heaven. So placing the cause where it actually is, in the mind and not in the world, will restore our understanding, and this most people are not ready to do. Therefore they keep being sick, they keep reacting to the world as though the world causes them tears and happiness. But as long as they do it, they will be stuck in the illusion. The cause is in their minds. It's not that someone keeps them suffering in body, but they themselves keep their body suffering. And once they really take responsibility for their minds, the body will heal, whether through the use of healing agents or instantly.